And away we go. It is the nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com. As always, make sure you get yourself down to Dayton, Kentucky, and get yourself some Galactic Fried Chicken. Would be an excellent weekend if you aren't going to the games on Sunday. Why not go to Galactic, get yourself a plethora of options. I love the chicken dippers, dude. I can't wait until you get back down here and try the chicken dippers, Aaron.
You've mentioned.
They are fantastic. I had them yesterday when we catered for the nurses. I got myself an order, took a half order of chicken dippers to Kelly's room. They are fantastic. But why not just cater your own little home watch party as you're checking out the Bengals, as they take care of the Ravens, and then the Bearcats as they knock off the number 2 team in the country.
Yeah, well, I wonder what the spread is on that at this point.
Probably not great.
Not great, Bob.
Probably, I mean, I'm guessing Ken Palm and Vegas aren't going to be super kind to the Bearcats as they go into that game. Thank you, fake John Goebel. Rough day. Kelly's got a bacterial pneumonia now that she has no immune system. So not awesome. She's been sleeping a ton and trying to get as much rest as she can. They say that hopefully she'll be able to bounce back by around Saturday or so. So that's what we're hoping for. She was miserable today, so it wasn't a great day for the Brendel family. But I'm home. The only way I can keep my brain from being a real pain in the ass and worrying about everything is to work. So we're working. Bearcats 70, Wichita State 61. Cincinnati dominated this game. Wichita State had a couple little runs in the second half to make it look a lot closer in the final score than it was. Aaron, I don't know that I've ever seen anything quite like the foul disparity before Wichita State had to foul 5 times to get into the bonus. It was 16. It was 16-3 at one point.
They finished with 7.
And they fouled 4 times on purpose. It was 16-3 at one point. That is a team that presses and is a physical defensive team.
I mean, there were several times where Nolly was taking it to the cup, and before he even lands, he's got his hands up like, what the hell are we doing here?
Well, the announcers were like, Nolly lost the ball. Yeah, he lost the ball because somebody hit him 6 inches from the ball on his arm, slapped his arm down. And you know what happens when you're doing this and somebody does that?
The ball goes flying.
The thing in your hands goes flying. Like it was unbelievable. Obviously, it didn't have much impact on the game itself. But and here's the thing. Doug Shows is awful. Like, just go watch or go to Twitter and Twitter search Doug Shows, and you will see every game that he officiates.
Well, I mean,
both fan bases hate him.
Of course, the conspiracy theorist in me is like, it's our last year in the AAC, and they're out to get us.
Yeah, but that's not really, Doug Shows isn't really an AAC ref. Like, he gets some AAC games, but that guy, for some fucking crazy reason, is considered one of the best officials in the country and gets games and like all over the place. And every game he's terrible. But let's move past Doug Shows.
We're also not blame the ref guy. So
no, I just think Doug Shows sucks.
Okay.
Like, I don't think it had any impact on the outcome of the game, but he's a terrible official, and it needs to be talked about.
There would have been more stats had you had more than 7 fouls. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, like Wichita State wouldn't have been able to go on those runs if the fouls were called.
I digress.
Anyhow,
the biggest
news of the day.
There it is. Yep.
Odi Oguama starts. Jeremiah Davenport comes off the bench. It is by far the best game for Davenport this season. He finishes with 22 points, 8 of 12 from the floor, 6 of 9 from 3. He gets 3 rebounds. This was a much needed game for Jeremiah Davenport. He plays 30 minutes off the bench. Sometimes it doesn't matter whether you start or you come off the bench. But this was the type of game that we've been waiting for him to have. And maybe it is coming off the bench. Maybe it wasn't. We can't, it's a small sample size. We can't say either way whether this was just a game where he finally broke out of his slump. But you do have to note it was done coming off the bench. And you could see in his energy, like he was trying to prove, like, I'm a starter, bro.
Well, he's also proven that maybe he shouldn't be a starter, bro.
Well, I think fake John Goebel has done a good job talking about this tonight on Bearcat Journal. I think on this roster, there is more of a need for him off the bench. Because if Odie's coming off the bench, and they went to an 8-man rotation tonight. The only guys that played outside of the starters were JD, Dan, and Josh. So the 5 starters, Micah, DeJulius, Landers, Odie, and Vic, and then Dave, Josh, and Dan. 8-man rotation. You need somebody that is going to be that scoring pop off the bench. I think it's a good role for JD. And if he embraces it and realizes it's something that going forward can make this team significantly better, I think it could be a good change. Because, look, when you have, and especially from what we've seen from Micah of late, when you have Micah, Dave, Landers, Vic on the floor, you can have a guy that's not a huge offensive threat out there with them.
Well, Dave was terrible tonight, but that's
okay, but he's still a threat. Like,
sure.
Defenses still have to respect him. You're going to have guys have good and bad games.
Yeah.
But when those 4 guys are on the floor to start the game, you have to respect all of them, kind of is what I'm getting to.
Well, and what was working for Davenport tonight? He was moving off the ball and getting wide open in the corner. That was his favorite
on
spot
the wing,
tonight.
in the corner, yeah.
But, I mean, that's what was working. And that's, for fuck's sake, that's all any of us have wanted him to do, is be a catch-and-shoot guy. Like, it's crazy to me how it actually works when he does the thing that he's supposed to be doing. They passed very well tonight.
They did.
Nolly continues to amaze me as the best passer on the team. I don't care what anyone says.
Not really close.
But I don't know. Just I hope to God that Wes goes into film day and says, hey, remember how we keep telling you that this is what you need to do? This is why we're the coaches.
Right.
Like, just do the job that we've asked of you. You just need to be the catch and shoot guy. Whether it's starting, whether it's off the bench, I don't give a shit. It's just a matter of
right. Just do the thing we need you to do.
That's it. Like, so I don't know. It was the best game we've seen out of Davenport maybe all year.
Definitely all year.
But just he looked comfortable. He was in rhythm. You love seeing that for a guy who's struggled of late.
For sure. I thought Landers was outstanding tonight as well.
Yeah.
12 points. Didn't have his 3-ball working, but still 5 of 12 from the floor. Had 12 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. Only 1 turnover. I thought Vic was really good. He led in plus 11. 7 of 14 from the floor. Didn't get to the free throw line. Not surprising because they just refused to call fouls on Wichita State. But he had 9 rebounds. He had 2 assists. He did get an early foul, but only ended with 3. He had a block. 28 minutes, plus 11. I just like those two guys. I thought, yes, Jeremiah had his best game of the season, but Landers and Vic were kind of the backbone of erasing that problem that we saw at Temple, where they got their ass kicked on the glass, and got better. We got a guest. So if you don't feel well and you like, it's up to you. But I don't. Well, maybe not. I don't know. It's just a dark screen.
It is a dark screen.
I'm
How
finding the light.
There you go.
I got.
Come into the light, Berg.
It only took till 11:06 till my son went to sleep. Come on, Isaac.
He wanted to see the game, bro.
Yeah, he did. By the way, start off with this. Halftime live line was 14.5. Freest money ever. They do.
Berg is enjoying live sports gaming in Ohio.
If you guys are doing FanDuel, they do these little boosts where it's like one rebound, and so
we're a Betfred. We're a Betfred company here, Berg.
Okay, gotcha.
I need to get you lined up with Betfred.
Betfred.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike Adams-Woods, good bounce back season, buddy. I really was done with him. I was done with him after last year, and I mean he's still softly takes it to the hole
at times, but at other times he's finished strongly.
He is.
It's like 50-50.
Sometimes I could block him with my right testicle some of the time if I was standing there. Like the one tonight was like, hey, dude, there's a guy right there, and you're just going to try a regular layup. But other than that, man, he's been an important piece of a 11-5 team where your best wins against number 94 Tulane.
I like that his reverse. It doesn't look all herky-jerky trying to Michael Jordan it or any like every time he goes. Like he had another reverse layup tonight where he just went under the rim and from the other side. Well done. But the fact that he's kind of become a guy that's going to put up double digits, whether it be 10, 12, somewhere in that range, and have about somewhere between 3 and 5, 6 assists. That's exactly what you need him to be on this team.
Remember the beginning of his sophomore year, the first few games against some no-name whatever teams, but like he looked like their best scorer. And then I remember they played Xavier at the empty Fifth Third, and they just figured him out, and then he sucked for the rest of the year and last year.
Yeah,
but he came in as a guy that was supposedly a bucket getter, and he's had to try to transition more into a distributor and game manager. But I mean, it's nice to see the other guy against Temple. What do you have? 18? Was that the Temple game or the Tulane game?
I can check.
Chad, what is that? The same word to you? Yeah, Tulsa. We haven't played Tulsa yet. Tulsa game, whatever. I can't wait till that joke is retired, by the way. But no, man, like let's be real. I mean, everybody was ready to be rid of him after last year, and to his credit, he said, "No, I'm going to stay. I'm going to work, and I'm going to make this." And he's like your, fourth best player.
Right, but that was the problem last year. They needed him to be their second or third best player, and that's not who he is. If he's your third or fourth best player, go ahead.
18 against Tulane.
That's right. I knew. Yeah.
If he's your third or fourth best option, he's pretty good in that role. If he's got to be like, last year the only offense they had was Dave, or the days when Jeremiah was like he was today, and they didn't have anything else. And teams were running double and triple teams at Dave. And then it was like, okay, Micah, like you kind of got to be the de facto number one. That's not him.
No.
The number 4, like you've got Dave, Landers, Vic. That's the unquestioned 1, 2, 3 of this team, right? Micah is perfect as 4.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Is Landers getting enough touches with chances to make decisions, chances to play make and things like that?
I think yes, because I think if for what I think you're thinking of, you have to play with him more in isolation, and I don't think that's good for this team.
No, I mean, I'm thinking pick and rolls, not necessarily isolation.
I don't think he's a pick and roll guy.
Really?
I mean, high ball screen is isolation ultimately. Like you're in isolation.
He's he can dictate the play. He can decide what's going to happen, whether he can take it himself or he can dish. I mean, you could run Vic through with that, or even a guy like it's kind of inverted, but like the Julius setting the screen for him.
I think he's better from what I've seen. I think he's better catching on the wing, side ball screens, and then working mid post, getting those getting a smaller defender on him and catching it like 12 feet on a smaller defender. And then in transition, he's really good at like catching, getting that pump fake, getting the guy in the air, and then creating from there. I don't know that I still haven't seen enough that I want him at the top of the set playing high ball screen. I don't know that that's where he's strong.
All right. Well, I do. So we disagree. What about their defense and rebounding tonight versus the Temple game? They seemed like they were more engaged. Because it's not like they got to the foul line tonight. They didn't call any fouls on Wichita State. They shot a bunch of jumpers and they got some stuff inside. But the defense was way better. Obviously, they held Wichita under 60 for most of the game. It wasn't a different kind of defense, right? It was just better effort, better attention to detail, less frantic.
It was Vic on the floor, not in foul trouble.
That helps too.
And Landers was outstanding on the glass.
Yeah.
Perimeter defense was a lot better too. You held them to 6 of 22 from 3. That's exactly what we need this team to be, as opposed to letting the team run out for 50%.
Temple they were hitting them all, and really,
Temple has more guys than Temple, or Temple has more guys than Wichita State, though. Let's be honest here.
But also, like, just in general in the Temple game, it was like the most frantic, like rushed, forced. The whole game, it was just like, what are we doing? Can we just chill out a little? In this game, they were more deliberate. They were much smarter on offense and defense, and then they got the victory. So now you got to play Houston.
Well, but here's the thing, Berg. If you go into that Houston game 1-2, this season is teetering. You go in 2-2. You've had the Temple loss. What I would say is I think those are teams with equal talent. You went on the road. You played like shit. You lost.
2-1.
No.
Yeah, 2-1.
If you lost tonight, you were going to be 1-2.
Right, but you said, or you go in 2-2, 2-1.
Well, I'm counting Houston as not a win.
Fair enough.
Oh, come on, man. Jeez, where's your positivity?
I mean, where's your reality?
Well, hey, is it not possible that UC could go 18 for 19 from 3 in that game, and Houston could go 1 for 19? I mean, anything's possible.
Houston's number 2 in the country in 3-point efficiency defense. So
maybe Cincinnati will only get 7 fouls.
Right? Maybe they only commit 3 fouls, then they have to foul Houston 4 times in the final minute to get up to 7. I've never seen it. I've never seen 16-3. I've never seen that before.
I know. So if you're assuming a loss in the Houston game, what would be an acceptable result to you? Single digits, less than 15? What are you thinking?
Don't do what happened to SMU today and be down 34-6.
Dude, Houston is a bunch of animals, man. Like, how does anybody score on them ever? They're just like, they're what are they?
Like, Kelvin Sampson has a type, and he's so good at finding his type, right? God. Like, that guy bats 1,000 on Tinder. Like every swipe right is a success story for that guy. Because like there were 3 or 4, like I haven't watched a ton of Houston yet. There were 3 or 4 guys in that game tonight I didn't know much about. But as you watch them, you're like, yep, that's him. Like, that's the guy.
It's like when Mick was kicking his ass and he was like, okay, that's what this league is. I guess I'll just have to find guys like that, except for better. And right. So that's what he did.
Right.
And now he's murdering UC every time by many, many points.
Houston has 5 skillings, one of whom is 225 at the 5, and they can all score, courtesy of fake John Goebel.
Also worth mentioning, Gregory Hooden. Temple also beat Rutgers, who just beat Purdue. That Temple team has been wildly inconsistent.
They always do that.
Yeah, but when they play well, they can beat anybody.
Remember a few years ago they beat Kansas?
Yeah.
And then they would lose to whoever the F.
Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And even Wichita had some decent wins this year, but then they would lose to, was it Alcorn State or I don't know, one of those teams at home.
And Steve McNair did not play in that game because Steve McNair's dead.
Yeah, he is not alive.
Aaron pointed that out last night. I tried to make a funny, and Aaron had to ruin my funny.
Did he? Yeah, he probably was a pretty good basketball player. I bet he could do some nice right-handed hammers. Yeah, I mean, so really, what would you say? Less than 15, and you feel like, we lost by 12. At least we didn't get murdered.
Hang in there.
We need to hang in the game all the way till the last.
Make it a competitive game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, are they ready to do that? UC's scoring the ball better than they did last year. They're obviously not playing as good a defense, but they're going to be at home.
You know the concern, right? You know the main concern is that Houston is just going to eviscerate
800
them
rebounds.
on the glass.
Yeah. So what do you do about that?
I don't know what you can do.
Fake like you're getting pushed every time.
The problem is they've got so many of those dudes, they just bring in another one. You can't get them in foul trouble.
You could get in the bonus, and maybe that helps.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It just have to hope that Houston is just not hitting them. Just not like Marcus Sasser.
You got to shoot well from three, which is really hard against them. And you got to hope they're feeling really good about that ass kicking they laid on SMU tonight.
Yeah, Marcus Sasser is just one of the all-time Bearcat killers there's ever been. My God, dude. I mean, he's good. Obviously, he does it to a lot of teams.
Yeah, I mean, he's a first-team All-American.
But it's every time he misses, I'm shocked. And step backs and through the legs and everything. But is this freshman pretty good? It was a Jarace Walker. Is that how you pronounce
Walker?
it?
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah.
Monster. I think at one point he was beating SMU by 12 points.
God, man.
One of these teams is ready for the Big 12. One of them is not quite there yet.
In the process.
Quite there yet. Yeah.
Loading. One of them is
loading.
Well,
let's see. Now, Landers Nolly, did he beat Houston last year? He had 20 points in a win at Houston, I believe, for Memphis.
Yes.
So he's not going to be scared. I'm interested to see how Vic does against this type of
that's what I worry about,
nature.
Man. Because we talked about this after the Temple game, and we saw it in the Tulane game as well. He still is not great with teams that are physical with his lower body, because his footwork gets sped up. He tries quick layups and quick hooks, and like Aaron said the other night after the Temple game, his hook shot was out of his hand before his hand even went up. That is what worries me about Vic with Houston, is that they're so physical because they don't care. They got 3-4 guys that can play at the 5. They're just going to physically hammer you. If the foul's called, they just bring somebody else in to do the same thing. Vic has got to learn to be patient, to stay patient when teams are trying to be physical with him.
Well, we know what they do. They double team the post every single time of their entire lives. So it's kick it out and repost. And maybe he's just going to have to get it off the offensive glass or face up and cream a jumper like he did tonight. Finally did that. God. Seems like he can do that. He just doesn't want to do it.
Oh no.
Aaron.
I'm on it.
Aaron.
I'm on it.
We got porn bots in the chat, Bird.
Well, I didn't see it.
Oh, they're still coming.
They're coming.
Yikes.
Yeah.
What are they from? What does it say?
What
is this, like a streaker on the field? You can't say it or show it?
Not really.
Not really. Because if you mention it, then new ones pop up.
No way.
Oh, yeah. They got bots.
They're always listening.
Wow. Okay.
Weird that it came right after you said creamy.
Yeah. Right after you said that the porn bots showed up.
Cream pie.
Unbelievable.
Jesus Christ.
Let's see if that starts a flood of them.
Oh.
What if I started saying that for made jumpers? I think you would have to edit that a little bit too.
Aaron, if you want to
Oh,
crash,
man.
you can crash, man. If you're feeling like shit,
I am.
Berg and I can take it home.
All right, you got it from here, Berg.
All right.
Till next time.
Take it easy,
I'll see
Mr.
you on Saturday, brother.
Sounds good.
All right, feel better.
Thanks.
He had one of those situations, and you know this as a parent, where the little one got the flu.
Ooh.
And it's just a matter of like how long, long until it spreads to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean, you can hear I got a little whatever nasal thing. Who knows? Just got over one. Here comes another one.
Kelly's
care.
Kelly's got a bacterial pneumonia right now with no immune system.
Oh my God! What are they? Where is she?
She had her stem cell transplant last week. So
oh my God.
she is zeroed out with no immune system. She's at Good Sam, and today they were like, yeah, it's a bacterial pneumonia in your lungs. So they've got her on heavy antibiotics and trying to get her to sleep as much as possible.
Yeah, sleep it off. Oh man, dude.
Dio Industry says, my girlfriend just gave me the look after you said cream pie. Thank you. We're talking sports, I promise.
What kind of look? Was that like an eye roll, or let's turn on the oven.
Oh, you know what that instantly put into my mind? You gave Mary Jane a pearl necklace, yo. You clearly didn't understand the point of that story. Oh, shit. But look, man, it was critical for them to come out and play like that tonight. Like, that's not a good Wichita State team. They couldn't come out and have that be a
I know, but I'm just
game back and forth the entire night. They couldn't.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Like, really, like, what are we even? What's our goal? What are we getting to with this group? I don't know. I mean, that critical? Is that critical to stay alive for like a 8 seed in the NIT? I mean, is that what we're talking about, or what? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's critical to not finish 7-11 in the American Athletic Conference with a roster that's good enough to be a top 3 or 4 team. My point being, what this team had to show after what they did at Temple was that they could go on the road and display some toughness and display, we're not letting this shit spiral out of control like happened last year.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that was important. Like, in the grand scheme of things, does beating Wichita State at Wichita State matter much? No, not really. But, like, if this team is going to win 11, 12 games, that wasn't going to happen if you lost at Temple, you lost at Wichita, and then you come home and you can't beat Houston, and you're 1-3 in your first 4 games in the conference. To go 12-6, you can only lose 6 conference games. If you lost 3 of them in the first 4, you're setting yourself up for disaster, right? Like, I think the whole like must-win shit is ridiculous in January, but they couldn't lose this game. And honestly, we would have felt bad if this was a game that was within 5-6 points both ways, and they managed to win by 2 at the buzzer, right? Like, we would not have felt good about where this team is at. And we still don't feel great about where this team is at.
Yeah, they're
I feel better about where they're at.
5th in Ken Palm and like 82 on Bartorvik. It's like they're so far away from anything that matters. But I get it. It's like you got to start somewhere. And you have Houston twice this month. You got Memphis at home. You still have UCF coming up twice. They're in the top 50. Like, you have 6 shots at it. And it's like, well, I mean, they have the offensive ability to hang with some of these teams now. Like last year, they clearly didn't. I mean, so that's at least something.
They had to win.
Yeah, I get it.
They had to win.
Obviously, they did. And
they had to look good, like they did for most of the game tonight.
And it's a nice little extra flick to Greg Marshall's sack. Just even though he's not there anymore, just didn't like him, and he still has to have some kind of.
Thoughts on JD coming off the bench?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's about time. It's like Russell Westbrook. Like, it's, it's just that's his role. Like you said, I heard you earlier. You said that they need a little firepower off the bench. If he doesn't have it, you don't have to play him 30 minutes.
Right, but he did have it, so you can.
Yeah, I mean, he was much smarter with his shots. I mean, and the rest of his game, look, he is what he is. He's not going to be a defensive stopper. He's going to fight. He'll fight a little bit on the glass, which I've been seeing, and take a charge or two. He actually had a couple nice moves in the paint in the last couple of games where he put it on the floor and was under control. I'll take that. Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, they kind of figured out what their rotation is. I like how their two freshmen are like who can get the most offensive rebound contests. It seems like they love going after
rebounding.
Those.
When those two evolve into who they're gonna be, rebounding is going to be a lot less of a problem because you're going to have a 2 and a 3.
Yeah,
that are dying to get to the glass. They're not there yet, but you can see it's in them.
Yeah, so obviously Finney and Newman are out. They would have been probably in your rotation, so they're just eliminated by injury. The only other guy that's kind of like a wild card is Hensley, and I guess he just figured in a game like this, obviously JD had it going, so maybe if you didn't, you could have put him in. But, Hensley, I don't know. There's times where I'm like, yeah, this guy could be something, and other times I'm like, this guy's just a spaz. Like, what are you doing? Just relax, bro. Like, get him like a puff before the game or like a shot of whiskey or something just to calm his nerve. Like, he's just going a billion miles an hour. I don't know yet what to make of him, but sometimes, you know what, like, it takes to your junior or senior year before you get it, and he clearly has some skill and talent to be ranked where he was, and he's got the size and athleticism. It's like maybe, in a couple of years, it'll be like, oh, Jared Hensley, that's a good guy to have as a senior. But right now, he's not in the rotation. I mean, at least as of tonight.
Yeah.
So there you go. So Oguama has stepped his game up. He was another guy that earlier in the season, no one was even mentioning his name. And to his credit, like even some moves in the paint, he's shown, and he's a good piece. And now he's in the starting lineup. Good for him, man. He and Adams Woods both were kind of like last year. People were like, dude, what are these guys even? What's the point of them? And they've turned themselves into valuable pieces. And then you got Nolly, Vic, and Dave. And then you got the two freshmen in Davenport. That's enough. And if you get in foul trouble, then you can, you got Hensley rearing to go to, just run really fast and see what he can stumble into. And that's pretty much it. There's nobody else there, right? I mean, Ezekpe is completely out. Is he hurt or just not good enough?
Those are coaches' decisions. DNP coaches' decision.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what those are.
All right. Well, I guess. What do you got? Are you guys? Oh yeah, the game's is it Sunday?
Sunday at 3, opposite the Bengals Ravens at 1.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a nice light crowd.
I'm guessing on the secondary market there will be a lot of tickets available. What happened to Sage getting time? We talked about this a little bit. I think Sage, the biggest problem, especially in this league, is the physicality. Like we just talked about Vic, who, Vic's old. Like Vic's like 22, 20, he is getting physically removed from his comfort zone in this league. Sage needs another 20 pounds. Like, I just don't know. Yes, he's 7 foot tall. Yes, he's skilled. Yes, I think there is going to be a place down the line where he's a good player. But right now, you are sacrificing that kid if you put him in games in this conference.
Yeah, I'm going to push back on that for both those guys. And it's like, dude, it's basketball. Just get low and use your – and I understand you're not that strong, but just make the refs – if you can put yourself in the right position, it will be a foul. You won't just get moved out of your spot.
You did not – Wichita State was called for 3 fouls in 39 minutes today, Berg.
Yeah, I saw a lot of floaters and threes, and no one took it really hard and tried to dunk into the paint.
Sage is not going to do that.
Okay, but I'm telling you, you're saying that he's not physically ready. It's like, so you can't just get low and get position? Like, have you been playing basketball? I learned that in 5th grade.
210 pounds?
Yes, I learned that in 5th grade. How you just flash, you get wide, you get a low base.
You amounted to nothing in basketball.
So what? I still know that you can do that. I didn't say I was awesome at it. I said I learned it. And I never see anybody
sure he
do
learned it, but you're you're like, Houston, you're dealing with grown-ass men that are 6'8", 230 pounds. Like, they're going to kick your ass.
Okay, you know what we should do? Do you know, we should get a referee on here and ask them, if you had the right position, would they call it or not? If you took it hard, even though maybe you're not physically ready, would they call it or not? If you take it light and weak, they ain't going to call it. If you don't get strong-ass position and a firm base and then get pushed.
Landers took it strong 3 times tonight. He was hit on the arm so hard the ball came loose, and they didn't call the foul.
Yeah, I saw the one. I didn't see. I mean, I maybe missed the other one, but all right. So you know what? Then stop off 2 feet and go up hard as shit and try to hammer it. I just don't. I don't know. Like I've said this a million times. If you're 6'7" and you can dunk, or you're 7 foot or whatever, it's like just try to go dunk. They will call the foul. If you try a little weak, move, like, sorry, they ain't calling it.
Yeah, I just think you have, like, Sage has got to be ready to absorb more contact, not just like on offense, but like in every phase of what happens in this league. Because, like, maybe explaining it like this works better. This is not a league with great skill, right?
No disagreement here, buddy.
So what does this league have to be if it's not a league with great skill? It's going to be a league with great physicality. Because there's not the skill that overcomes the physicality. How do you battle physicality with skill? Right? Like, it doesn't matter if you body me up. I'm just going to rise up and knock this fucking shot in, and what you do doesn't matter. So this is a league that is centered around, especially inside, teams just beating the hell out of you. And I don't think Sage is ready for that yet. I think he can be, but I don't think his body is physically mature enough to handle 23-year-olds, now that we have COVID years and transfers, 22, 23-year-olds that just are going to beat the hell out of you every chance they get.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair to the kid, is what I'm saying.
And maybe it's his body, but I think it's also mental. Like, if you're going to take it hard and take it to them, then, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? It's a charge on you every now and again. Like, we don't get enough charges on us, or I feel like we, I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like we're a little like, let's just pull up and whatever.
Yeah. Here's a great point.
Look, they're shooting.
Mike Adams-Wood drove it hard, caught a guy still moving, sliding into a charge, and got called for the offensive foul.
And all he touched was like the guy's, like, one of his hairs on his elbow. And the guy
But this is what you're saying.
Yeah, I know.
But that you want a guy to do, and it still ended up being an offensive foul.
Okay, yeah. He also, that was like one time. And Nolly took one, I saw, but it's like, like that whole game, did Dave shoot any he shot those 3 free throws at the end of the first half. Okay.
Those are the only 3 free throws of the game.
Yeah. Anyway, look. They got to win. They dominated the game. They were up by 17 at half. They were up by 20 in the second half. Who cares if they only won by 9? I know. And then, like, Mark Adams is like, is it Mark Adams? Who's the Adams that does the game?
Yeah, Mark.
He was like, I'm really impressed with the heart, or the fight Wichita showed. Like, every home team in the entire world would have done that against any other team.
Yeah. Especially if you know nothing you do is going to be called a foul.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, oh, wow, they cut it to 8 or whatever. It's like, yeah, big deal. Like, you think UC gave a shit the last 4 minutes? They just wanted to get out of there with a win. But anyway.
Dude, what the fuck is happening on Twitter?
Why?
I got followed by 50 eggs tonight.
I don't know. But either
Like
way,
I hit my notifications and it said 50, like some random account, and 57 others followed you. And there's not one profile picture on any of them. I'm about to be attacked by a bot army. It's coming.
Yeah. By the way, fake John Goebel. Mike Adams Woods drove it. I don't know if he drove it hard, buddy. I don't know if he's ever driven it hard.
He drives it hard. It's just whether he finishes hard or not.
Drives it. I wouldn't call it hard. Who on this team drives it hard? I mean, Nolly sometimes. Is that it? I don't know.
Dave is the step back king. Dave
I guess
steps back more than anybody ever in the history.
The only one who drives it hard is really Skillings.
Dan drives it hard. Dan's trying to dunk on you all the time.
Yeah. Dan's had, he's had the freshman, little dip the last few games where it's like, he's chucking a little, he's out of control. Like that Temple game, god damn was he out of control. But yeah,
he took good threes tonight, he just missed them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's cold, he just can't really find it right now. He doesn't get the ball a lot. I'm sure it's an adjustment for the high school guys. The first year, like, man, I'm used to having the ball all the time, and I get it like 1 out of every 7 possessions now, and it's like, fuck, I got to do something. But you can see he and Josh are going to be good, and it's just they're just gonna kind of figure out what they can do on the glass and maybe score here and there. But I don't know. I'd say from the beginning of the year to now, I mean, they're like, I wouldn't say they're better or worse than I thought. I mean, what did they start? They started like in the 50s or 60s in Ken Palm, and now they're in the 70s, high 60s. It's like, they're not. They're just kind of like, you look, they're like, oh, they're 60th in offense and 80th in defense. It's like very irrelevant. Like no one gives a shit. Like beat someone good or we won't care territory. So you got some chances coming up in the next few weeks to measure yourself to see, are you any better than you were at the beginning of the year? And no matter what they do, they still lost to Xavier, and I'm still having a hard time with that. So, and by the way, man, why did they have to set the betting for January 1st to open for us? Because that Xavier UConn game was the freest money that's ever existed. Those assholes beat every number 1 or number 2 team or every big name team. Has Xavier's testicles been dipped in gold by God the last 20 years?
I don't
anything
care about
they
Xavier.
want to do.
I'm not giving them time on this podcast. I'm not.
UC does some shit.
I don't care.
They do it more or better. I'm goddamn tired of it.
I'm not giving them time on this.
I'm done. I'm just.
Anything else you want to talk about from tonight?
No, I think we're good, man. It was a solid win. Let's move on and see if they can keep it within like 15 to 18 on Sunday. That's what I mean. There's no scenario that you can see that they win.
For our Betfred sponsorship, because Betfred is the official gaming partner of Bearcat Journal. What do you think the line will be?
I mean, it should probably be close to 20, but like for some reason Vegas likes UC a lot of times more than I think they should. So I would say maybe somewhere in the 12 to 14 range would be my guess.
12.5, 13.5, I think is where it probably will land.
Yeah, and again, UC's offense is much better than it's been in the last few years, and they seem to have kind of found at least an effort level and an attention to detail on defense that the last, I don't know, I guess one game.
I didn't think the defense was all that bad at Temple. They just let that one run happen where they couldn't stop it. I will say, like the 8-0 run tonight, the first in the second half when they hit that first 8-0 run to cut it down to like 12 or whatever, UC came out of the media timeout and they went 7-3 in that next segment, and it went from 12 back up to the 16 or 18 or whatever it was. That was good to see. because this team has had trouble stopping the bleeding.
Right.
And they got a couple stops. They came right out of that timeout. They went bucket, stop, bucket, 12, back up to 16. And you got that breathing room again where it's like, okay, like this isn't gonna burn us. And they got it back up to 20. Then Wichita State went on that final run towards the end where they clearly were just allowed to do whatever the hell they wanted.
Yeah.
And Doug Shows and his fucking
buddy,
asshole crew.
You love Doug Shows. And also against Houston, I mean, Odie's got to play rebounding wise. I'm sorry, JD. You know, I know you can shoot it and whatever, but I just don't see how you can play small against them and even think to have a prayer on the glass.
Yeah.
Not that Odie has, I mean, buttery hands or anything.
He's gonna put up that, like you've got to put up. Well, they need Landers. Like Landers has to be really good. You know what Houston's game plan is going to be, right? Get Vic in foul trouble immediately, because without Vic on the floor, it doesn't matter. I don't think. Like they're not going to rebound well if Vic is on the bench.
Well, then the West needs to tell the refs that, dude, fuck Kelvin Sampson,
right? Be like, hey, did you know these guys are leaving the American Conference next year?
Yeah. Hey, did you know that they before NIL they used to pay everybody, and also the running joke between my buddy and mine is that Kelvin Sampson always looks like he's going to go home and just like if he loses, just kick his dogs like 18 feet.
You know what it's going to be? I'm going to show up. I'm going to look at the notes on Sunday, and it's going to be like Doug Shows and Pat Adams.
Oh,
are going to be
God.
calling the game.
Who would you like it to be? Who would be in UC's favorite? I don't think. Do you have any refs?
3 guys I don't know. Like 3 guys I'm not familiar with.
Ed Hightower, Steve Welmer.
Give me Teddy. Teddy will call a good game. Teddy's still going to do his shit. I think Teddy is one of the best officials in America.
Except for in 1993 against North Carolina.
I still don't think, he still was probably right on the calls. It's just that he's an asshole the way he makes them.
No, I don't believe so. He gave North Carolina favoritism, as every ref did against us, every time. Well, man, thanks for letting me come on. Is it 12-12?
It is 12-12.
Oh, it's a school night, too.
Good Lord. I got to be up at 7 in the morning to get Kelsey off and then head back to the hospital. And
oh, yeah, man.
You know those deals. You know how that goes. It's not fun. No. But, look, we're here for the people. We're a content company. The content must go on.
You know what? I almost wrote. Well, I didn't get a chance to finish it on New Year's Eve, but I was going to write like, "Will UC's offense travel?" before the, and I had like most of it written, and then it didn't against Temple, and I was going to like write like, "Well, this is what I was going to say." It was pretty good tonight. I mean, 70, we'll take it.
70. They shot what? 44% from 3. Hey, look, Berg, they shot 100% from the free throw line. Like, I don't know what else you want.
What was it? 3 for 3?
Yep.
Oh, man. I mean, is there any way they can get to the line a lot against Houston? I just don't. Is there any way the refs are just going to be like, you know what, we're going to call these little reaches and pushes? I don't know, dude. I don't think they can call them because you can't see the guys too fast. Houston's like they're in like warp speed. Every one of their guys. It's like they're not even human beings. I don't know what they're like from some I don't know what like out of the movie Predator or like whatever. They're just insane.
All right, you'll be back here Sunday after the Bearcats win.
Yeah, and by win I mean hang within 14.
Okay. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Aaron Smith, for toughing it out. He wasn't feeling well. Appreciate Berg popping in. I'm Chad Brendel. We'll see you next time. This is the Nightcap brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com.